Today's matchup. SK Telecom T1. AT Rolster. Afrika Freaks. Rocks Tigers. Beginning of the end. 2018 League of Legends Champions Korea Spring Split.
Welcome guys and welcome back to another day of LCK Spring Split. I'm Achilles, that's Papa Smithy, and we are about to strap in for one hell of a day of League of Legends, starting things off with a banger of a match to Telecom War, back yet again as SK Telecom looks to take revenge on KT for that 2-1 victory that they snuck away with last time out.
We're back in the trenches again, Achilles. It's time for a war. It is the famous Telecom War, and it's one that for once is more important, I would say, for SKT than for KT. Usually around this time of the season, KT trying to ascend the ladder and SKT sitting pretty at the top. Suddenly SKT, a match win away from actually top 5 competition. 2 matches in many ways. If they lose here, it's almost desperate times for SKT. There's only 4 best-of-3s left for them in the regular season. And right now, with 2 weeks to go, they are not guaranteed to even make it.
Yeah, right now, if they lose this series, puts them just 1 win ahead of the likes of Gnar Green Wings and MVP. That's when you kind of get dire straits there for SK Telecom, and when they kind of need to pull a miracle out of their ass to get themselves into that playoff position. So a victory here versus KT, who have had their ups and downs as of late. The 0-2 loss to Rocks Tigers does come to mind, who we will be seeing in our second series. Yep. We'll go ahead and shout that out. Rocks Tigers versus Afrika, another playoff contention match right there between those guys. So really stacked day of League of Legends. Hope you guys can tune in for the whole damn thing. Get yourself a coffee, energy drink, whatever your poison is, because you want to stay up late if you're watching from the West.
And we're going to see KT and Afrika for the first time on patch 8.4 as well. So seeing how they adjust to the new stuff. Let's look at the old stuff, though, and that's where the standings currently lie. KT Rolster having a great season, but predictably, not without some faults. 9-3 on the season. SKT, a match behind Rocks Tigers and KSV. But notice they've played, this will be their 14th game of the season, so they'll be done for week number 7. They will effectively be 2 series behind if they lose, because both KSV and Rocks will have a series in hand.
Yep. Could just go ahead, tie up Rocks Tigers right here with a victory if they can get a 2-0 over KT. But given the way that the games went last time out, that would be a very impressive feat here for SK Telecom, who have their backs up against the wall as of late. The 0-2 smashing handed to them by Kingzone, and even struggling against the likes of Gnar, losing a match to them. And then the defeat at the hands of the Afrika Freaks. It has not been an easy road for these guys, but they are SK Telecom. They have Coma. They have that X factor, so we can never count them out, despite how poor their performances have been as of late.
And also, it's the Telecom War, and it's always been about these 2 old enemies more so than necessarily standings. Usually, we're talking about top 3 competition. Right now, the standings don't read that for SK Telecom T1. Their fans are still proud. They still believe they can make it happen, but they are coming off a shellacking by Kingzone Dragon X. Very difficult to face Kingzone and KT in the same week. But if you think about strength of schedule, everyone has to do it sometime, and it's time for SKT to stand up and be counted.
Time to also find out what the rosters are going to be for both of these squads, starting things off on the blue side, SK Telecom T1.
They're mixing it up, Achilles.
It's going to be Untara in the top lane, and Blank will be starting. We've been seeing a lot of Blossom as of late, but Blank will be returning to a starting position here. And the rest, you already know that. Not going to be seeing too many changes there, despite the 10-man roster. Bang and Wolf still in the bottom lane. No effort since Wolf has reclaimed his position.
But one of the first times we're seeing this roster. This is the most experienced roster that they can feel. No effort in the lineup like he was at the start of the season. Blank has lost his spot. His last game was the Jax game. That will forever be a meme. That was over a month ago, so he has had a lot of time out. He's also shrouded in secrecy, isn't playing on his main account. We know him as a big Olaf player. I imagine the Olaf will look at a visit, especially on the blue side in Game 1 for SKT.
See how much priority KT is going to put on that pick, especially whether or not they want to take it off the table for SK Telecom.
And KT Rolster had a dilemma of their own after Ucal had a great performance last time out. Do you go with the experience upon a world champion, or do you run the young 17-year-old prodigious talent? They go with Ucal, and that is very interesting as we get, once again, this revolving door of young, promising mid lane rookies against the best of them all. A super hyped mid lane matchup as Ucal takes on FLICKR.
We saw him go for the Azir twice in a row versus the likes of Kongju Monster. Absolutely brutalized them in that matchup, but now he's going to have stiffer opposition with FLICKR.
You see everyone laughing, and you see Ucal a little
bashful,
a little bit nervous, a little bit bashful. The other guys have been around. The other guys took down SKT in the first round robin, getting some monkeys off their back, but for Ucal, it's his first time, and that is always going to be the most nerve-wracking. It's been a long time. You'll see that SK2 series was 10 series ago for KT Rolster. The King Zone one for SKT. They'll hope it was just a once-off, but very difficult opposition against KT.
You say monkeys off their back. It was more like getting King Kong off your back for KT after all of the telecom wars that they've gone through, the finals, falling short to take them down. It was finally a sigh of relief for them to come up with that victory. But can they do it twice in a row? Because that would be history here for this squad. Shut down SK Telecom like that.
History's been a bit of a dirty word in 2018. A lot of things have been rewritten. The CS record, Bang is trying to go for less than a death a game. He's well over 30 games played and only 28 deaths.
34 games.
But if you ask me, I think Deft has been our best AD carry by a significant margin over Teddy and some of the other big names. Prey and Gorilla have been a bit deprioritized, but have still had reliable seasons on the side of King Zone. So Deft has been fantastic, whatever the KDA reads, and then you have Blank finally returning. A lot of time to be reintegrated. I imagine he started picking up scrim time more recently after they had heavily preferred Blossom. Blossom doesn't start. The history for this lineup with Mata and friends began in spring of 2017. No match victories, often a single game. The reverse sweep, probably the biggest heartbreaker in the summer playoffs. In the first round robin, they got their victory. That was a long 3-game series. I invite another one. Let's see another part of the war between SKT and KT.
Yeah, last time I was sitting in the audience. This time I'm up here on the desk alongside you, so it's going to be a nice little change of pace since the last time out. You can see the first blood ratings coming through here. KT, they're looking pretty good. 65.5%, first in the league.
Interesting that both teams have a very high win rate with first blood, both SKT and KT. I don't think that's a stat that's necessarily going to influence the match, but fun little reading. We're trying to digest some of the multiple statistics. History and also recent history is relevant when two teams that have battled in esports for so many years go on to the Rift. SK Telecom T1 needing that victory. Need to look at the first turret win rate for KT and SKT. The bot lane is definitely the haven, 100% win rate for both with the first turret. And predictably, as two of our smarter teams, when you pick up the first turret in general, going to be top 5 in win rate in the league.
We'll see if one of those stats is going to change here today for either side. If those bot turrets do go down, mid SK Telecom probably want to just avoid that. 0% win rate out of the mid lane, first turret being taken. So I think they will just be focusing all their energy on the top or bottom side where they have those 100% numbers.
They try to give FLICKR, hit the chance to just play 1v2, 1v3, and King Zone took that invitation and camped the hell out of mid lane, so FLICKR might actually won. A little bit of extra reinforcements there. First pick Galio, a possibility on blue side on game 1, and then it is about the side lanes. Very interested to see what approach we take. FLICKR does not strike me as a mid lane Scion player, but maybe he'll need to visit something safe to get over the line as we get to look at two of the best AD carries to ever play the game. Bang and Deft have always been rivals. KDA-wise, Bang way in front. When it comes to performance and MVP points, Deft is among the leaders at 700 points.
Yeah, a little bit shocking to see the KDA actually falling off that hard for Deft in comparison to Bang. He has been having an excellent split, especially if you compare to last year when he joined into KT Rolster. Much more consistent in that regard, but hasn't been going for the KDA plays. Has been playing a little bit riskier, putting his neck out there when he needs to, and occasionally he gets punished for it. But like you said, the MVP numbers do not lie when it comes down to Deft. Currently tied for first place. He's first place in Challenger as well at the moment in the standings. So he's been having a pretty good year so far, and beating SKT a second time out in the spring split would be a just nice cherry on top.
Fans are definitely there in numbers for SKT, and you look at the overall numbers, 63% think SKT will win today. A lot higher vote numbers than we get for a lot of our matches, around 9,000 votes here. SKT have the biggest fan base, so predictably they do win the fan vote. But is that the fans thinking they'll win, or trying to lend their voice, trying to say the SKT win, fly it proudly? We'll find out what the reality is very soon.
Could just be blind faith from the SKT fans. Let's see if their dedication is going to pay off as the coaches enter the booths. Zoom in on the icons. That means we are ready to go as we go into pick and ban for game number 1. SKT gonna kick things off over on that blue side.
I wonder where the Olaf will go, as the Sion is instantly banned. No shenanigans allowed for Ucal. When it comes to mid lane Sion, and the flex pick Sion has been flexed in many different roles. I saw Mada in solo queue basically playing Phil, but with Sion. Top lane, jungle, mid lane. It's everything except an AD carry on a good day. And Zyra Khan is not something you want to give against Deft and Mada. Deft and Mada 2v2 have been able to run away with a lot of lanes. So we've seen a lot of pinching of AD carry role. We see a lot of Caitlyn, Varus, and Tristana priority. The Zyra rolled in situationally. So already we're thinking a first picked AD carry for SKT. Do they ban away the Caitlyn or first pick the Caitlyn? It's massive for Deft, but not really a pick that Bang has been known for at any point in his career.
Kalista also undergoing some nerfs here on the current patch. Still have been seeing teams pick her up though, so not completely lost the priority there, but the shortened range does impact her a little bit there in the lane. The Thresh is going to be banned away here by SKT.
Final ban here, very interesting for KT. You could understand a Varus ban because you don't really see Bang as the sort of guy to jump on Caitlyn. But they're going to go with the jungle ban instead and ban away the Skarner. So Sejuani is available. Olaf is prioritized by a lot of teams and is a historical pick for blank. But is it first pick worthy for SKT? Is a question they'll mull over.
What would KT have to answer for the Olaf? We've seen mostly success coming out of the Olaf picks, but a couple teams falling short with that. But it's going to be the Ryze lock-in. First pick here for FLICKR as Ucal's eyes light up a little bit there.
Does he just go back to the Azir that he played twice in his last series? Azir and Taliyah are two champions synonymous with Ucal, and both of them can be run against Ryze. Ryze likes the Azir matchup, but this is at the cost of the first round AD carry. And look at how high priority the Olaf is for score. You're against a jungler coming back who has been low on confidence. Why not jump onto the Olaf and go for the counter jungling? As we go over the side of SKT, we already see aggression from the jungle pick. What do we get from SKT? Will they actually go to the Shyvana? That hasn't really been considered. Very close to Sejuani on the Korean alphabet. And the Sejuani makes a lot more sense. Has the ability to disengage a lot of the time, and it will be Sejuani for blank.
If score can get rolling early, can fearlessly just go ahead and charge in there. The Sejuani can have minimal chances to go ahead and lock him down, especially once the Ragnarok comes through.
The nice thing about KT's draft also is that Olaf is very strong into Varus because he ults at Varus like, well, crap, I can't disengage, and I don't have an escape ability. So it's also getting the most out of Varus and setting up score to be on the front foot. So proactive on the first two drafts here is first sighting of Ezreal in a while. It's been deprioritized this week with much more Caitlyn and Varus priority. Final pick on red side's probably going to be mid lane, and it's going to be Ucal on his famous Taliyah. So guys, it's his first time playing it in competitive play. When Ucal was rank 1 in solo queue in 2017, Taliyah was over 66% of his games played, by far his most played. So it's actually a big time to finally see it on the Rift, and I've lost count of the amount of times I've tuned into FLICKR's stream and seen him against the Taliyah from Ucal in particular. So it's certainly hype. A Taliyah matchup that she can get through. Both of them looking for the roam. Taliyah versus Ryze and Ucal versus FLICKR. My birthday's come early.
Well, Tahm Kench going to be the ban away here by KT. They know that Ezreal Tahm Kench is something very standard that SKT likes to run. They'll answer with the Trundle ban away. And deny that from Smeb, perhaps, even though Untara has been one of the big users of that Trundle top as of late. Mostly into the Sion, which, of course, has been taken off the table. So maybe SKT still looking for something tanky in that top side of the map. Perhaps the Maokai that has kind of had a touch and go as of late.
Gnar also very possible when it comes to top laners and Smeb's most played. So will they prize here, KT, counter-picking for support or just drafting a powerful top laner? That's the conundrum they're in. When you see double support ban, can kind of go either way when it comes to banning away safety or prizing something. And speaking of prizes, no Camille, who, with no nurse on patch 8.4, is considered one of the strongest top laners. They're trying to pinch, they want to engage. The Olaf and Varus told us that. And the Alistar from Mata would be another legendary pick synonymous with the player. And they lock it in.
All right, Alistar there. So maybe just going to be the standard Gnar here for Untara with Camille taken off the board as well. See where SKT wants to go, but support top, last remaining picks for these guys.
Ryze Gnar would be the 8.1 special. It's what we saw at the start of the season and was popular. Cho'Gath is what Untara played in the last series. No wins on it, but does well into tank matchups. This is saying, hey, you playing that Maokai Smeb? Have a nice spot to answer that. A strong engage from KT. SKT decide to go for balanced team fighting, but also some split push options with the Ryze. Very interested to see what KT makes of this draft, because if you're someone like Kingzone Dragon X, you attack the Cho'Gath, try to make him accountable, but lose some team fighting as a result. So see where Smeb is gone. He hasn't picked for lane as much as other top laners, and other carry top laners especially. So will it just be a tank, or will it be something more exciting? It's going to end up being something a little bit in the middle, but certainly very meta, going for the Gnar. So lane priority can be achieved in top and mid lane, and Olaf wants to invade. So lane priority is what they want, and they don't want to go too far into something like a Fiora, something super lane dominant. But go for the Gnar, and KT are on the front foot. KT are trying to get it done early, but SKT have a lot of scaling options, and their 5v5 team fight, it's a lot about execution. Unless Olaf can get a lot done against Ezreal, that's difficult. There should be a slight advantage to SKT.
KT, they find themselves in that second place spot. They want to maintain it. They want to keep climbing as close to Kingzone as they possibly can. Getting a victory over SKT would help that cause quite a bit, but they are taking a risk. They've decided to go for the rookie mid laner here with Ucal, starting him over Pawn, who is waiting in the back room if needed. We'll see if he can hold it together. We were talking about how bashful he was looking in the booth. Can he hold the nerves together?
He's against FLICKR in the telecom war in front of a sold-out crowd. Not everyone is filled in yet.
In his second series in competitive.
Exactly. He's 2 games into his career, and here he finds himself. He would have dreamed of this moment years ago. He finds himself there. Very interesting roster choice on both sides. How is Blank going to be able to cope with having been out of the limelight for so long and then coming in for a cutthroat match? This is must-win time for SKT, otherwise playoffs goes out of their own hands.
Oh, here we go. The stage is set. Audience ready. You guys back home, I'm sure, are excited to dive into this one just like Papa Smithy and I are. So let's go ahead and kick it off. The Telecom War, round number 2, spring 2018. SKT versus KT Rolster. Let's jump into game number 1. Fans are ready to go. Like you said, not entirely filled up yet, but certainly getting there. One of the more packed audiences that we could possibly have here at 5:09 p.m. in the afternoon.
And the way we know that, despite there being some open seats, is that if they're selling seats in the limited view areas to the left of the casting booths and right respectively, then we're full. So it's completely full here. Game 2, I imagine, is going to be ultra-packed, but at 5 p.m. local time, hard to get everyone over to Sangam. The SKT fans, you know, the fan votes, the signs, all about giving SKT their energy. SKT need it. They were really humbled against Kingzone Dragon X a couple of days ago. And while history has often read SKT win, KT Rolster lose, how much does that history matter when SKT really are in a tricky spot right now?
See, the match history has not been the kindest for KT, as we were highlighting, but finally did get a bit of redemption as we see Bang poking forward. Doesn't land the Mystic Shot, though. Score's going to be all right. We know how much sustain you get off of those reckless swings off the W.
Trying to hopefully provoke a smite. That would be the gold tier. Obviously, steal the blue buff would be the legend, but Not going to happen realistically, but any interruption also means that Score will be less likely to invade due to health concerns. But now seeming like a full clear going to happen from Score, as he did go on to his Gromp rather than skipping camps. Sejuani, blue buff into red. This is the, I really don't want to find Olaf at one of my first spawn buffs. Please don't come. And safety taken. That was after the side of SKT knew there was deep vision put down at level 1 by KT, but going for pathing there to make Olaf accountable early and get blank both his buffs.
Well, so far, it's going to be nice and standard as we work our way through the jungle. Blank going to be spotted out by that ward that Ucal had thrown down right at the start of the laning phase. Keep track of that Sejuani as much as possible, so that maybe Score can, if he's feeling frisky enough, go for some sort of invade.
Man, the jungle speed for Olaf is so insanely fast if he doesn't have to worry about being invaded. In this meta, he is so often going to be the jungler with the skirmish advantage. It happens very rarely, so power farms through. I wonder if we'll see him take a page out of Umti's playbook and go for some very early Drake takes. We saw Umti solo down the Ocean Drake pre-4 minutes. While that timer won't be there, level 4 and an entire clear's worth of gold will be able to be bought by Score. Definitely going to buy boots on his first back to try to abuse Predator.
Maybe if we had a dragon that was a little bit more desirable, I suppose. The Cloud Drake, maybe not worth the effort for Score to go down to that side of the map. Instead, he's going to be looking for a setup here onto Untara.
Doesn't have Predator. There is a lane ward through from Untara who's going to come face check.
Poke forward, yeah, that's going to be the axe coming down. They have the slow off the red buff. He comes in, and Tara gets the pop-up, but now Smeb's joining in the fight, and they will force out the flash.
That was cute, bouncing over Score's head, using his teammate as gap closer. The flash is taken from Untara. If you notice, he's gone Grasp, which has been taken a couple of times into the Gnar matchup. A little bit more sustain on a gank, going to be very powerful, and if you consider they have Sejuani, who has that big synergy with melee auto attacks, it's an all-in option as well. When we're talking about runes here, Aftershock from Mata, so not as much global playmaking as Wolf, who despite being on the Taric, has gone for the Unsealed Spellbook. He looks at the late game and says, I'm probably going to need to cleanse very soon. So it will be cleansed later on for Wolf.
For once watching the bottom lane, not going to be as intriguing. A lot of poke coming back and forth off the piercing arrows and the mystic shots, with no one really going to be going low because of the Alistar and the Taric heals.
And let's do our patch 8.4 sweep, because first time we're seeing KT on patch 8.4, Ucal comes in, and look at the build here. It's going to be tier Taliyah into the Archangels. A lot of people messed around with the extra wave clear from Ludens and the poke from Ludens, and it was an situational item for Taliyah in the past, but tier from the side of the Taliyah is a new thing. It's a very nice item build now, the new Archangels, in that you take tier early so you can match the back coming through from the Ryze. Second back, the Lost Chapter, is going to be the cooldown reduction. 20% CDR is always something prized. So I think we will see more and more. This becomes the standard pickup, but notable first time on the Taliyah.
It's going to be a bit of a fight there as Score uses the smite to come through.
Reason why I like the tier also on more and more champions, Lux for example, if we ever see her in the meta, so Froggen playing a lot of that in solo queue, is there's a lot of less incidental health in the builds these days. There's a lot less Liandry's to pick up 300 health here and there. So having a shield, being situationally not a 900 health Taliyah in the mid game is really powerful. So the power of the Seraph's shield in a meta where getting free health in your standard AP build goes away is something to be spoken about as well.
See, vision priority coming up towards this top side of the river here by KT. Maybe looking for that Rift Herald when it does spawn up. Very easy solo for Score as he keeps moving along very rapidly through the jungle.
Also trying to play around where he's strong, which is definitely this lane. Nice little trade coming in from Smeb.
Wasn't much of a trade as Untara barely answers any damage back. Smeb will try to work him even lower. And now we have a visitation to the top side. Ucal is nearby. He's got the Weaver's Wall ready to go. He's going to go ahead, ride this in. TP comes through, and he's going to get popped off. Get the teleport out of FLICKR.
Timing a bit off there.
No first blood.
If the timing was earlier, the new flash was down on the Cho'Gath. They'll get the zone away. Teleport available to Cho, but they don't necessarily want to allow a free teleport. Blank trying to stay topside to allow him back. And one of the struggles that Untara and Blank had when they did play in 2018 was their difficulty in repelling pressure. So often it was Untara being just taken down by the enemy top lane and jungle duo, and Blank not being able to playmake around that lane. So given that Untara has been held down by Khan in the past and Smeb situationally, there is the need for SKT to reinforce him while his flash remains on.
Well, no kill, but already good roams coming through here from KT. Tell that they are willing and ready to make a play. Even just with that roam up from Deft and Bada into the mid lane, maybe looking to catch FLICKR off guard with that Chanting Corruption, but he's busy picking up the blue buff. So he'll remain safe here for the moment. But Untara getting punished pretty heavily, chunked down to almost half HP. Does have the sustain in the passive, but basically is going to have to be waiting for this wave to constantly crash into the turret, which can make those last hits that much more difficult for the Cho.
In teamfights, I think the Cho'Gath in an even game can be very useful. Can just feast Olaf, who gets very squishy when he rushes in with his ultimate. And he also is a natural answer to the Banner of Command meta. If he can actually gap close onto the minion, he can just feast it down with true damage. We'll do some bookkeeping about things like the minion dematerializes later. As you can see, Alistar has one charge. All charges are used by Ucal, and FLICKR was holding on to his charges against Kingzone, but the game never really went long enough for that to be relevant.
Still has 3. So we'll see how long he wants to hold on to those. Just used another one, so down to 2 at the moment.
KT up 1,000 gold, largely around the top lane CS lead. CS leads in all 3 lanes. A good sign that KT are feeling confident and being willing to push up and not respect the enemy jungle. That's a vision in the jungle, but the control wards are really the only things that are conspicuous. 2 on the top side coming through from SKT, and no clearance, 3 now. So many free roams available for the Taliyah top side. Usually this vision line is the gold standard on bot side. When it's Untara, and there's that creeping doubt of Untara and Blank being able to come straight back into competitive and keep up the pace, you can understand that KT trying to set up Gnar for success.
Smeb ahead. It's always been a pretty good plan.
Not one they've played much this season. A lot of Smeb on Maokai, a lot of Smeb role-playing around on Gnar in hard matchups.
Has been going for a bit more of the team play. We were talking about it before the game. You know, taking a look at his solo queue, a lot of Rumble starting to come back through.
Oh, I'm so ready.
A very big hope that perhaps we get to see that here today, but given the way that he's been playing for the team utility and for the front line, not that likely, but you never know. Maybe we'll get a nice surprise.
Nice 2-man roam. You notice that FLICKR had to come up with his jungler just to clear out control wards and get the Scuttle Crab. That's the prize they get. Yeah. It's not a gank, it's not a flash, it's not anything that in solo queue will be seen as relevant, but in a game like this, where KT controlled topside to that degree, and Untara only now is getting a flash up, 2 people were needed. You needed an escort just to kill the Rift Scuttler. Such has been KT's vice grip on the top side.
I mean, Untara basically needs an escort just to get to the minions right now. Smeb's just chunking away at the turret. Has already knocked it down to about below half HP. Almost a third there. So it has been a very rough time for him as Untara finds himself about 30 CS down.
And we find ourselves building. It's a slow game, and SKT will be very happy with that. They've been blown apart by Kingzone in Game 2 especially of the series earlier this week on patch 8.4, and it's KT's debut on patch 8.4. If you look at the teams innately and said, okay, who in the LCK was going to be buffed by a patch that seems to cement early to mid-game as the win, KT Rolster, especially 2017 KT Rolster, hold up their hands and feel bad that this is a year later, but KT is still one of our early game powerhouses. So KT expected to be at home on a patch that really allows you to close very easily if you can claim that first Baron. Whereas SKT, with Blossom, they certainly were aggressive. They're back with Blank, who kind of is the ambition to the Haru kind of aggressive side of the coin. We'll see how Blank can go, because so far he's been second to the action. He's also in a hard matchup against the Olaf.
I mean, I'm just kind of tilting here for Untara, watching it as he tries to get the CS there underneath the turret, but even just the wall up there helping to deny 2 away. Smeb is just commanding the lane at the moment. Already has that phage as well.
They picked themselves into this, so the blind pick Cho'Gath could have been a blind pick Gnar and forced something much more aggressive, like a Jace out of Smeb, if they really wanted there to be lane control. Smeb, if anything, gave him the most respect, or at least indexed on needing a team fighter more than some of the other choices KT could have gone, but it's one of the reasons we haven't seen Untara and Blank, is top lanes going down, losing in CS and losing in pressure was kind of the standard for SKT at the start of the season.
Well, another TP burn there by Untara. Was back in, and yeah, the turret not going to be standing for too much longer.
Smeb with a very aggressive back.
Yep. He'll be fine. He'll actually just go ahead and punish Untara for even just coming around that corner. Knocks him down, and maybe he'll just stick around for a little bit longer, get a bit more damage onto that turret, but we will see the dragon taken here at 12 minutes.
And this is where things get difficult for SKT in that they've given up top lane control, and now the bot lane is also good news stories for KT. They're just taking over the map in the early game, and their draft definitely, like we said in Champ Select, gives them first rotation. They're on the front foot compared to SKT that are resting on their hind legs when it comes to team comp. So it's not a disaster by any means, but just those words of giving up early control in patch 8.4 are enough to be a blood-curdling scream for a lot of coaches. We'll see if SKT can continue to stabilize. They haven't been blown away. There is still a mid-game spot, especially towards the late game, where they'll be very comfortable.
Now that we have something like the Rift Herald here on the board, it's when that snowball can start coming through. If KT are able to get that, they get that first turret coming in.
Spotted on a ward.
Just charging in, just space checking flank. He's got no fear. Since I'm level 9, I have Ragnarok. It's no problem. Has the ward down, but control will come out here from Blank as he just wants to safely take this red buff. Dazzle won't connect. Score does have a blast cone if he has to make a swift exit. He's still sticking around.
They want this control ward at minimum.
Well, he can't get that, but yeah, at least we'll be able to take that control ward down and get a little bit of extra gold. In the meantime, this just means that Smeb can go ahead and take this turret for free. He knows that Blank's not nearby. FLICKR was also joined in at that red buff, so no Realm Warp to answer for this push, and Smeb will go ahead and knock down that first turret at the 13.5-minute mark.
And SKT's best lane assignment with the comp they have and KT's early playstyle is sending their mid laner to ensure their jungler gets red, because top side was already just a lose-lose situation for them to send more resources. So KT get that first turret. We already had the graphics pre-game and now on the screen to show you. That's good news. No surprise that the best teams with First Blood turret. First Brick is usually going to be happy as Smeb's not done. He's got Black Cleaver, so the more he can auto-attack Untara, the happier he'll be.
Wonder if he's going to hit a Flame Horizon this game. Seems like it could happen if he continued to be this aggressive.
Did choose his runes for lane also. No sign of resolve on Smeb. Went for sorcery seconds.
Oh,
bot
that's
lane.
going to be the pulverize into the headbutt. They kick Wolf back. Dazzle going to come through with the Ragnarok. Chew that one up, but they'll go ahead and heal away right as that Cosmic Radiance comes down. But that's going to be both summoners out of Wolf, who looks a little nonplussed by it.
But now, do you just move the battle line from top to bot and just repeat, knowing that there's nothing available?
Could be. Realm Warp thrown down here by FLICKR. He'll make it out. But already, you know, KT, just the charge in there from the mid lane from Score, eliminates that roam potential from FLICKR. He still has the teleport, but it's a lot more visible.
Imagine SKT is going to be a lot about 2-item power spikes. Ezreal's the one we always talk about. He's going for the cheaper build also with the Iceborne Gauntlet, so he's going to have the control build. Very respectful is Ryze also. No visit to the Rod of Ages in this game. So 2 items going to be where SKT is probably going to want to start to mount a defense. Is that early enough? Is that enough? They're questions that we don't clearly know the answer to. We've only seen those 4 series on patch 8.4, and we've seen some scaling teams get ahead, but usually it felt like the mistakes in execution by the team that had the early game comp rather than necessarily seeing indications of how you can successfully stall. So we're still learning about patch 8.4 in Korea, especially. We know the banner minions are strong. We know the first Baron is one of the biggest primary win conditions, but still plenty to explore in this brand new meta.
Still going to have those 2 dematerializers there from FLICKR, so it seems like he might be holding on to these until the late game. No others in this matchup, so if SKT can turn things around and put KT on the back foot, clearing out that Baron empowered Banner of Command minion, which we still need to find a abbreviated term for. It'd be quite nice.
It's a shame that we've already used Winion, because that one would be very
Winion's
appropriate there. We've already used that one, so that one's gone. Bot lane just chasing on to Wolf, trying to make him accountable and stop the good back timings.
We'll get a bit of damage down onto Mata.
And it's just free damage too.
Yep. Good chunk there onto the Alistar. In the meantime, Smeb
on a ward.
We'll start this up, on a ward. As you do say, as Score starts wrapping his way around.
If Cho'Gath actually walks up, it's impossible to secure here for the side of KT.
Yeah, the Feast missing is very unlikely. So it seems like they will just abandon this cause.
Doesn't releash instantly. A very long leash for the Rift Herald. We've seen it just walk into enemy jungles and still be interested. As you notice, it hasn't releashed yet. It's just leashing onto SKT, and they're going to take it down.
All right, well, KT just long prepping this one for SK Telecom, who will very happily scoop up their first objective of the game.
It was a bit about back timings and also seeing enough of a defense. You'll notice all the offensive vision was river-centric at most, so didn't feel safe enough to make the play. Like you say, free leash is... Score is not going to give anything else for free.
And Dazzle's already been used here. Cosmic Radiance is available, and the TP's going to come through from FLICKR off the bat. So KT will just go ahead and abandon this.
He'll cancel it, and remember this play is largely around the turret bot side.
They could still stick around if they want.
Score has nowhere else to go, so he's definitely going to stay.
No, Ucal, he'll go back in the lane. He wants to answer that wave that's getting ready to crash into the turret. So it seems like the bot lane for SK Telecom will be safe for now, but Score waiting in the brush. It's going to spot FLICKR.
Has no interrupt on the Realm Warp and doesn't have kill threat yet, but he's just trying to get information for the bot lane. This is purely just warding for Score.
Nope, I'm not going to go that way.
It gives so much to his team. The battle ward that we talk about so often. Heal drawn out of Deft. That was out of context.
It looks like he might have gotten locked down by the Dazzle. Took a Mystic shot to the face. Just wants to stay topped up for this push as
here's the Weaver's
the
Wall.
Olaf comes back down. Yep, Weaver's Wall going to lock Wolf in here by himself. Bang could jump over, but that would be all of his mana gone for the Arcane Shift, so they're just going to lose this turret as KT takes it down.
Beautiful stuff from KT Rolster. They know how to play this early game comp so far. We've seen teams stalled, and should be noted that KT are not hugely indexing on early games, not the Vladimir Galio comps that are getting outscaled, or Kalista as an AD carry, so they also have great options in the mid to late game.
Score tries to take that one away. A bit close, but can't get the red buff in the end. But now KT will go ahead and prep this dragon. They have complete control over this side of the river. No vision thrown down by SKT. They will drop a ward in now, but immediately get swept out. Be a bit of a Hail Mary toss there from Blank to try to get anything over the wall to steal that one away. So just kind of have to surrender that. So KT pick up the second dragon of the game. 2
items now onto both FLICKR and Ezreal. The white flag in the first 20 minutes was acceptable by SKT. Certainly not great given the patch, but acceptable. Where is the line in the sand going to be drawn? Feels like the only tool they have right now to actually force KT to respond is the Rift Herald, which is 50% available for Blank in terms of the cooldown. So that's going to have to be really where they group their forces and try to make something happen, or try to make someone accountable in another lane and group elsewhere. So only good news story of the first 20 minutes is they haven't been blown open and they have the Rift Herald. Let's see what SKT make of it.
See where they're going to use it and whether or not it's going to actually help them claim a turret, as Smeb will get interrupted on this back.
Smeb could be dead here.
He's going to go ahead, just blows the hop into the flash. So he will take himself out to safety, but yeah, Summer's Bell going to be down.
He was in the shop. You can see he reacted a half-second late on the first spell and thus had to use his flash. A little bit more safety for SKT as Wolf Summoners are back up. Getting this mid lane turret is going to be a multi-pronged effort. Taliyah actually trying to push in the minion wave bot side. Very good vision in the red side jungle for KT as it's walk up to Untara.
Oh, well, that was uncharacteristic there from Mata.
You would have hoped that one was off camera, but we saw it. Sorry, Mata.
Unfortunate. It's all right. Happens to everybody at some point. Rift Herald's going to go ahead and be channeled up here in the top lane as SKT starts gathering around that side. It seems like KT will just go ahead and get ready to sacrifice this turret.
They don't control that area. SKT splitting the map very smartly. They know that bot side control, red side control is with KT, but KT know they have great engage. They're just transitioning their power. Bang takes a half-health chunk just from the Baron.
Quite a bit had the Arcane Shift over that wall to get the aggro, but Mata wasn't close enough to try to go for the redemption on the Bullfrog.
I really love the play from KT because usually you think, okay, KT's strong bot side, SKT's strong top side, just trade. If you feel like you're stronger and have engage, you don't have to trade. Trading is losing. If you're farming against a Vayne as a Caitlyn and you're just giving free lanes of CS to both sides, it's a losing effort. So good to see KT be more aggressive. They get the mid lane outer turret, which was the end of the early game largely for this phase. They trade up in many ways from that. It's good stuff from KT. It's not explosive. It's not a kill. Everyone is sitting there waiting for the big piece of action. Well, this might be it.
This might be it. Yeah, Realm Warp coming in right in next to the turret, but the headbutt immediately comes down. FLICKR, look at the big shield with the Pulverize, connects. Cosmic Radiance keeps him alive and in the fight, but he has to start cutting back as that final turret shot comes through. Now Ucal pushing forward, rides in with a Weaver's Wall. One hit left on Wolf, but the heal comes down from Bang to help keep him in the fight, but SKT is just in full retreat mode. Bang firing away with the Mystic shots does allow for some distance to be created between the teams, and they make it out safely without losing a member.
Yeah, it's hard to actually finalize a kill. No feast there from Untara. Got there on the back end of the fight. Ucal had to use his ultimate to group, but nothing gained for the side of KT. Nothing gained for SKT either, apart from forcing Olaf into base. So that was certainly looking to be the action. Loved how Mada positioned, standing in front of his carries and stopping there from being an instant burst onto Deft. Deft's summoners stay up, even though it was a huge drop in the Realm Warp from the Ryze. So that's an important thing to remember, is that Deft didn't have to use anything because Mada was in position.
Yeah, made up very much so for that missed ball for Ryze onto Untara in that bottom side of the map. It's great headbutt setup to knock FLICKR in there, forces out the Seraph's Embrace immediately, and forces him to kite his way back out of there, so he's not just going to be laying down damage. So really good stuff from Mada.
If patch notes are boring for you, you won't be surprised to see the Liandry's early for the Taliyah, but very different item now.
Yes.
On patch 8.4, all about the extended fights, the end of the threaded volley, or the E-arming rather than the burst damage. No magic penetration on the item anymore, and max health damage rather than current health, so the tick can actually kill you rather than only before wind you very low.
1% instead of 2. At this point, but that's going to be the ultimate coming down here on the Deft, forces out the flash and the heal this time. Realm Warp comes through yet again, and he might just be screwed this time around. Yeah, he'll get locked down. Rune Prison comes in, and First Blood at 23.5 minutes does go over to SKT as Bang scoops it up.
Yeah, SKT had finally got a triangle of vision around mid lane, make the first proactive move actually work. Mada was looking for playmaking. SKT were a step ahead. Good to see from them using the Realm Warp very creatively. They're pinging onto Baron very early into this as Untara is getting chased.
Yeah, and KT just trying to pick on Untara here. He'll flash away, dodges out. On that E there from the Taliyah as SKT keeps poking their way in. Now they have the inside track onto this tier 1 turret here in the mid lane.
KT's all about delay. If they make a move as 4, they feel like SKT can't reliably stop Baron. And that clearly was an idea for SKT. Baron damage, not massive. It's QSS on the Ezreal. No visit to the Blade of the Ruin King just yet. Good secure from the Cho'Gath, but no more. Chooses flash, they back away just to kill, but a great sign of intent by SK Telecom T1.
Picking themselves in this one as Smeb very cheekily walks away with that red buff. 1 kill there for SK Telecom.
Summoners also a massive prize, so
yeah.
Keeping Deft alive. When you look at the comp, the Alistar wants to be diving, everyone wants to kind of be going aggressive, and only really Taliyah can look for the peel, and Seismic Shove is a much better engage tool than peel tool. So keeping Deft alive in a team fight is going to be tricky.
So here's a question. What's the fastest Flame Horizon we've seen? Because Smeb's almost there.
I believe there was a pre-20-minute one in the past. In full Dyrus treatment mode in a Jace game, but I don't have that stat ready for you just yet. We'll see how consequential the Flame Horizon is. Not building for lane, has gone for Adaptive Helm, second item, showing a lot of respect to the Ryze, feeling like he's going to spend a lot of his time in the front line, which is, you know, as expected. 2 Drakes have rolled down for KT, but we already know that SKT's in fighting mood.
Be a second Mountain Drake for them, making that Baron that much easier. They can secure this. Blank going to start pushing forward, maybe looking for the seal, but he's not going to get it. Now he gets locked down, but the Cosmic Radiance is there to help keep him in the fight. Lockdown yet again connects in, this time on the score. He still has a Ragnarok, but now he's going to pop it right as Mada gets locked in, and he might just be going down. Smeb comes in from the side, gets the stun, but it's still going to be SKT coming up with the first kill. Now the second is Deft has been taken out of the fight. They answer back. They find one onto FLICKR, but they need so much more than that. A double kill goes over to Untara as score goes down. Now it's just Ucal and Smeb trying to clean this one up for themselves, but Smeb has got no HP left. True Shot Barrage comes in, almost finishes him off, and Ucal is under pressure as the Sejuani hitting him from the side. Bang over the wall, jumps in, looks for the kill, but Ucal answers one under the Sejuani. Now Bang has no mana left, has to go ahead and blow the flash into the pit. He keeps himself alive. SKT Widely do win the fight, only losing out on 2
Ucal,
members.
you're really going to do this?
He does. He pops over the wall. He's going to be looking for the hits, but takes that Mystic shot to the face. Won't get popped up. The Dazzle comes down. He's going to die. Way too aggressive from the rookie. He gets punished for it, and now SKT do come out on top of that fight.
It's very offset death timer as well, so if they actually regroup here, this could be massive. Ucal played this fight as well as could be expected when he found himself cut off from the rest of the members. At the start, he can do nothing, and SKT are primed to win because Ezreal has hyper mobility and Deft has no summoners. The tanks run after Deft. It's an early feast. There's nothing Deft can do, and it's only going to be kills on the outside from KT Rolster to stop this from being just a wash by SKT. Ucal plays the back end of the fight as we're watching very smartly. It's not worked ground, so he has a lot of ability to poke around. But the end of the fight, so much greed. The blasting plant respawning ended up baiting him into making a bad read that there wasn't going to be enough members still there. They were still around. They turn on him. And KT Rolster finally find themselves losing the first real fight of the game. 5-2 in kills, but a slight gold lead to KT.
Yeah, just shy of 2,000. You know that Pawn's watching in the back room with his arms crossed, just shaking his head saying, I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have taken that blast cone in. We'll see if that's going to cost KT here. Still do have that advantage. They did get the Drake at the start of that fight breakout. So they do have that massive amount of damage to answer up here for the Baron.
And let's be clear, that is how SKT want to play fights, where they use Realm Warp and the mobility of their Ezreal to change the terrain on Deft. When it flashes down, it's so hard to win a 5v5 without a 10,000 gold lead for KT Rolster. And those are not the fights that KT had to opt into when they took 3 turrets very early into the game. They can split threats very smartly. And that time, great control play came through from the side of SKT. You even think about the champions. Untara is on the Cho'Gath. If it's just a true 5v5, he feasts the Gnar, and it doesn't matter how much magic resist he has. Winning front to back with the Cho'Gath is very possible. That's why they start another fight. They're ready to fight again.
Yeah, it seems like it, trying to draw them in. KT now collapsing through. TP's going to come out from Smeb. Doesn't have an R-bar built up.
Going to be early here because of the feast.
Or it's going to be taken down, and Smeb actually going to cancel that one out. Untara. She can transfer
Huge
there.
engage.
That's going to be the pulverize into the corrupting chain, and that is going to be just the Sejuani getting blown up as Blank disappears. Realm Warp thrown down here by FLICKR. Will be able to get himself and Wolf out safely. But now no smite available here for SK Telecom. KT, do they want to go for this? But no, Score and Mata both so dangerously low they cannot stick around for the Baron.
It's going to be a single kill to KT despite investing a lot to make that happen. Massive engage from Mata, known for his decisive headbutt pulls. Needed to use Flash. They only kill the jungler and back away because, like you mentioned, Score was heavily DPS'd out.
Still just not even 30 minutes into this game, so Blank already going to be coming back up now in 3 seconds. So no chance for KT to go back to base, rush over to the Baron and try to burn it down with the double Mountain Drake.
And the problem for Olaf here is that he has no interrupt on the Realm Warp. When it comes to interrupts on Realm Warp, they have Mega Gnar and his 2 abilities. Olaf has nothing. Taliyah has a seismic shove that's probably going to be down. Ryze is going to hold on to the ability, and Mata's cooldowns were not available as well. So not trivial to interrupt the Realm Warp for the defensive side. The offensive side, when summoners are down on Deft, will be visible as well. FLICKR is fantastic at using that ability, and it holds a lot of value against this particular comp.
Smeb sitting in vision right now. No control ward over that side. And no sweeper available at the moment, so SKT have a pretty good idea of what KT's doing and where they're posturing. Realm Warp just tossed in to get that vision. Double control thrown down to the Baron just in case.
Reason why you double control ward here, I believe this would have been intentional, is that you want to make it so if someone is trying to clear vision, it takes so long that you're there with a seismic shove or engage CC. So
or just trigger the Baron and it'll whittle him down in that time.
It's a very intentional choice, is my read on it.
Mata,
they're trying to rush this one down. They got 2 mountains, remember.
And True Shot Barrage
this
comes
might just
down.
Be it.
At KT, they're going to have this one. Blank tries to push forward, but cannot get the lockdown. But can KT make it out alive? Untara's pinching in from the top. Score knocked down to just above 50% HP. Goes for the knockup, doesn't land it, and seems like KT might just get away with the Baron for free.
SKT, even with the experience, don't rate what double mountain means for Baron speed. It's rushed down, really nicely done by KT. All of our hands on our mouths a little bit thinking, do they actually have the damage? The answer was yes, with the 20% amp. And under the noses of SKT, KT find their first meaningful lead since taking the 3 out of turrets.
Well, Ucal might go a bit over-aggressive with the Taliyah from time to time, but the utility is certainly there. He's used this now to knock down multiple turrets, and in addition, lock SK Telecom away from that Baron. So well done by him. Good, concisive call by KT. They have a Baron buff now for over 2.5 minutes, and they're going to use that to knock down these inner turrets.
Again, it is super trademark for Ucal. If you don't believe me, go onto OPGG, load up his profile, and slide over to last year, where he was literally Taliyah only, or Taliyah dominant in his picks. And because they have the Baron buff, the first Baron buff of the game, they're getting a lot of push. Notice that Olaf is the one building banner. There's no banner yet, so it's not quite the super-powered push we've seen in other games.
Yeah, a bit behind on that one there is Score, but I think he's going to be pretty happy with how the game is transpiring thus far as Smeb fires away, chunking down Untara, threatening with this Mega Gnar. Weaver's Wall is going to come through, locks him away yet again. Bang can do nothing but poke, and the turret's going to fall, and very likely the inhibitor to follow. Mana, though, getting chunked down to about half HP. Does cost him a bit, but Blank goes really wide with the engage, and SK Telecom might just have to peel back now.
Yeah, he tried to shield the engage with using the Arctic Assault at the same time, but it's too easy to dodge in the end. Optimistic. They didn't want to use the Realm Warp to go into the back because they know if they die here, the game is over.
Yep.
KT get a free inhibitor through all of this. This game has swung pretty hard both ways. Great KT start. SKT stabilized with great use of the Realm Warp, but one smart decision and a pair of great Weaver's Walls, and suddenly KT Rolster are one team fight away from ending the game.
Well, they just go straight back into the base. Those Baron-empowered recalls have a third Mountain Drake they can just go ahead and pick up, get that extra stack in case they need it for the Elder Dragon a bit later on.
And the Bannon is online.
Okay.
Olaf has picked up the first banner of command.
Is that
Marta's like, I don't build this crap. I go for the righteous glory and I kill people.
Are we committing to that, the Bannon minion?
It's up there. It's an option.
It's reasonable.
I'm listening to every region and working out who's got the sickest rhymes when it comes to the banner of command empowered siege minion that has the Baron buff. It is a mouthful. I tripped over it about 3 times in the first game yesterday, so I'm willing to take any inspiration. Let me know on Twitter if you know a slicker name, but we can actually see it in effect here as the banner of command is available. Not used yet by Score.
Yeah, let's just go ahead, knock this one down for free. Only turrets remaining now inside the base, 2 inhibitors left. Score will take a bit of damage there from FLICKR, but here comes the Weaver's Wall yet again.
Interrupts Blank.
Knocking them away. Blank can make it over safely with the Arcane Ship.
But only Gnar can auto-attack, so it takes a while.
Well, Smeb takes a ton of damage, though. Has to be careful, gets a little bit of a heal off.
And here it is, but not going to be with the Baron buff for long. It's only for 10 seconds.
That might just be long enough to go ahead and finish off this turret. However, only need a couple shots to go through to knock this one down. There's one,
2.
There's 2. They can get maybe one more. The pop-up comes through. The Baron's going to expire, and SKT goes for it, maybe looking for the fight. Cosmic Radiance comes down. Blank going to stay alive, but knocked down to about half HP. SKT does shove KT back here for the moment, but they can't get anything for it.
But do remember, that was the tail end of a Baron that already broke the base in the bot lane. So that was just looking for a second inhibitor turret that doesn't quite happen. So still a very big turnaround by the side of KT Rolster. Big Baron play. The Mountain has been unattended for a while. Seems like SKT might pick it up, but not hugely consequential as the Winions are, at least draw the attention of someone.
Yeah, Untara's going to have to go answer those. We'll go ahead and try to clear those up. Maybe we should say Bannon. That reminds me of Steve Bannon, the White House chief strategist.
As an Australian, you're speaking a foreign language, talking about chief strategists. The only chief strategist I know is Coma, okay?
See, he wasn't very good, whereas the Bannon minions are quite good, so it doesn't really fit.
But he's getting
Bit
nerfed.
of a divide.
He's getting nerfed soon, though, on patch 8.5.
That's
so
true. Then it'll be fitting.
We don't need 4 years in League of Legends. 2 weeks is enough.
Well, this turret still very weakened. Weaver's Wall comes down yet again. FLICKR and Bang are here. Try to answer this one yet again, but it's only going to be a couple of hits there as KT knock this down, expose the second inhibitor, and very likely just take it for themselves unless SKT can do something drastic very soon. Smeb's got the Gnar bar ready to go. That little hop over the wall keeps
Look at this
nice
pink ward L block from Tetris or something going on here. They really, really did not want the vision to be cleared. KT are definitely over-investing in vision in one area, but that's because they have a very clear thing about what they want. Donate some gold over, continue to push, inhibit a turret down, but not a second inhibitor. Seems like the second Baron of the game. It's what they've identified as the closer. We are on patch 8.4, guys, so the Baron is continuing to scale up, almost at max strength. Waiting to see if SKT can pull something off, because if it ends up just being a 5v5 around Baron, there's definitely a team fight where SKT can win and stabilize.
Yeah. As for now, though, it's looking just like a very slow, tightening grip here by KT as they try to choke out SK Telecom. Pulling the trigger. If they can land that Sej ult, try to get the lockdown, blow up somebody like Deft or Ucal, maybe then that could be the turnaround. He does have the Banshee's Veil there.
And FLICKR is decked out. He's got the new death cap. He has the buffed Archangels. He does a lot of damage in this particular game, so...
More increased AP percentage, why not?
I'm up for it.
Rabbiddin's death cap,
Hey,
I like it.
I'm still waiting for the 3 Infernal second Elder Dragon buff with a death cap for all of the AP. One time, we're going to see the ultimate double rainbow where VEGAR is on the team and gets that item, and we're going to see the fabled 2000 ability power.
I mean, FLICKR could hit that point where he looks like old Ryze, where he just 1v5s an entire team and everybody explodes from the AoE. And now KT setting up the gank brush, waiting over the wall, and they have the control ward down, so they know that they aren't in vision.
Smeb has the Hurricane. Remember, that is for fast Mega Gnar in a team fight, because every hit discreetly builds rage rather than based on how much damage you deal.
Build up very rapidly if he gets into the thick of things. Oh, that's going to be the engage. Headbutt Pulverize comes through. They'll get dragged back in by the Seismic Shove.
It's a disengage Ryze ultimate. It's a disengage, sorry, Taric ultimate. So the re-engage.
FLICKR looking to engage here on Smeb, knocks him down to about half HP, but now big pop-up comes through and Blank is going to go down yet again. Mata manages to stay alive on the backside of the fight. They'll get Wolf, a double kill coming through here for Deft. That's going to be Taliyah picking up one. Smeb drawing him back in. Wallop down on the FLICKR. He dies, a triple kill over to the Varus and KT Rolster. I believe they've just done it. 38 minutes here into this game. They go ahead, blow up most of the team. Just bang left alive. They got the Banner of Command minion coming down here. TP, keep the wave alive. They'll knock down this turret, they'll take the inhibitor and likely the game.
And the team fighting with all the experience here ends up holding a treat. Ucal in the lineup, no problem. Blank and Untara didn't have the same synergy with the team, so Blank was up the front, he dies for free. The ult from the Taric has to be too early, and KT go 1-0 up.
Nothing more that Bang can do other than stay alive, deny that kill away, but Ucal over-aggressive at the start of that, but beautiful Weaver's Walls coming through, helping to secure those objectives for KT. It was a bit of a slower snowball, but it did get rolling, and they did not get off that ride.
And the rolling part of the Moss, you know, the old adage, is the part we should talk about, because there was the one moment where they got Deft when his summoners were down, when they were able to make something happen where SKT in the mid-game arrested 20 minutes of KT domination. From there, KT licked their wounds a little bit, backed off, went back to their original game plan, and ended up closing the game. So this was very clean from the side of KT Rolster. SKT, they were very passive. Their jungle synergy with the lanes, nothing really happened around Blank. And by the time the team fights ran around, it was either hit the perfect ultimate or it didn't really vindicate the Sejuani bit. Watch the replay, as this was actually really well constructed by KT. They back off and disengage the Taric ultimate. Smeb is buying time from FLICKR, and you get to play front to back. You kill the Sejuani. Beautifully done, and from there, everyone was exposed. Not quite the 4-man Mega Gnar, but not needed.
FLICKR, not, as you said, was paying attention to Smeb, not in that fight where everybody from KT was grouped up. Had he been with the Ryze AoE, maybe he could have blown up Mata, maybe something like Deft, but he gets distracted.
Problem is, Ryze comes in, then Gnar is there, hits 3 people, and Mega Gnar's 5 people into a wall. So
true. Bit of a catch-22.
It was a damned if you do, damned if you don't. Gnar zoning away, Ryze will be taken, and SK Telecom T1. Very stable, very consistent, very clean win.
Nicely done here by KT, but can they close this out with a 2-0? That is going to be the question. That is what they're looking for, to shut down the hopes of SK Telecom and their fans. SKT looking to take this one to a game number 3. We'll have game 2 when we come back from the break, but game 1 already pretty bloody, already very hype. Let's see if game 2 delivers on that as well.